Hi guys! Last time I talked to you about Regency romance books and why I love them so much. But usually I like to go out for dinner with someone before I start talking about sex, so I thought it might be nice for us to, get to know each other a little bit better. So I posed the question to the other bookish Brits, what did they want to know about me and my bookcases? And they came back with 10 questions for me to answer for you guys. So, the first one, what is the first book I always recommend to non-bloggers? It varies according to who the person is that's asking, but on the whole it tends to be The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. It's set in Victorian London, it has a magical circus that's only open at night, the prose is actually tear-worthy, it is beautiful. I adore this book, and I have pressed it on every member of the family and most of my friends, and they've all loved it too. So, this is the one with the highest success rate that I always fall back on when people ask me for a book recommendation. If I could spend one day in the book world of my choice, what would it be? Well, that would be Thisbe from The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. I love Thisbe. Stiefvater is an incredible writer, and the island of Thisbe is a character in its own right in this book. It envelops you as soon as you start reading. The sea and the sand and the horses and Skarmouth. It's just incredible, and if I could move to Thisbe tomorrow, I really would. I also recommend not just reading the book, but listening to the audiobook. If I can't sleep, that is the one thing I will listen to. I love the narrators for that, and they really bring the world of Thisbe alive. So yes, would move there tomorrow. What is the first book I remember buying with my own money? When I was 14, I got a job, and I would trundle across the road every lunch break, and I would go to the bookstore, and I'd pick up the book that I'd ordered the week before, and I would order another one, and those would always be Tamora Pierce, because she's just fantastic. She introduced me to fantasy. I adore her books. I started with Song of the Lioness, and so I wanted to read more. So, these are The Circle of Magic. This is the first book, The Circle and the Weaving, and it's the very first book I bought. I then went on to buy every single other Tamora Pierce I could get my hands on, and they're just amazing. They are good for any age. I came to Tamora Pierce when I was very young, but I still love them to this day. What is the last book I didn't finish? I'm really bad actually at not finishing books. I tend to soldier on and be stubborn and whinge about it, but I tend to not give up on a book partway through, which is possibly something I need to work on actually, because it means that I read some really rather terrible books sometimes. So I don't tend to do not finish them. Who has been your latest amazing author discovery? I don't have a hard copy, but Marie Rutkowski, really hope I've said that right. The Winner's series, The Winner's Curse and The Winner's Crime. The Winner's Crime is due out in about a week. I read both books last week, back to back, and they were incredible. Her writing is really, really stunning. The world is incredible. I cannot recommend them enough, actually. I had the biggest book hangover when I finished them last week, and I'm still reeling from them. So I really, really recommend those. Do I have any bad book habits? The only thing really is that I tend to have about 3 or 4 books on the go at the same time. I'm really bad for reading multiple books at once. But that's the only bad book habit I can think of, really. What's my favourite childhood book? Again, Tamora Pierce. It would be this one. Because I was cussed and the first book in the series wasn't in the library, I started with the second book in the series, In the Hand of the Goddess by Tamora Pierce. It is the second book in the Song of the Lioness quartet, and if you want to start with the first one, that's called Alana, the First Adventure, because normal people start at the first book, I'm told. These books are amazing. They are the first fantasy books I read. I read them when I was 11, and they basically shaped my thoughts about how books should be and what good books could be, and the exciting fantasy realms that were hidden within them. It was an incredible experience, and these books are just stunning. They are about Alana, who doesn't want to be a girly girl, she wants to go to be a knight. So she trades places with her twin brother, and she pretends to be a boy, and she goes to the castle, and she learns to be a knight, and she kicks some serious ass, and they're just incredible books. Yeah, if you haven't read Tamora Pierce, start with these ones, because they're just, yeah, I love them as much now as I did when I was 11 when I first read them, so they're very, very good. Digital or real books? I used to be very much an advocate of real books, and then I moved to France, and I had to leave most of my real books in England, so I've only got a small percentage of real books with me. So I rely very, very heavily on my Kindle now, because it's really expensive to get books shipped over here, and they can take ages, and I want to read them now. So I read an awful lot on my Kindle now, so it's a bit 50-50, but I still love the feel of a fresh book in my hands. A series I came to late. I'm really bad for not going anywhere near books that are really, really popular. I don't know why. Maybe that's a bad book habit. So I didn't read The Hunger Games until the first movie came out. And then I stormed through them in a couple of hours, and I absolutely love these books. Same thing happened with Divergent, actually, by Veronica Roth. I'm just really terrible at reading popular series. I tend to go off in weird directions and tangents with my books. And the last question, what is my most reread book? I actually have several. Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, The Seven Kingdoms Trilogy by Kristen Cashore, and The Lady Julia Grey books by Diana Rayborn. I adore these books. They're set in Victorian London. Again, I seem to have a bit of a thing for Victorian London. They feature Lady Julia, who witnesses her husband's death in the first few pages of the book, and then proceeds to discover herself and who she might be, and also to uncover the mystery behind her husband's death. So it's a bit of a murder mystery, there's a slow burn romance. It's just, Diana Rayborn's writing is fantastic. I absolutely love these books. There are 5 books plus 4 novellas. And they're just incredible. I love coming back to these books. Yeah. So that's a bit about me and my bookcases. If you've got any more questions, stick them in the comments below and I'll answer. I feel really bad because I've only singled out a few of the books that I love. And there are so many. So I'll probably do another post at some point about some of my favourites. But this will tide you over for now, and it means we feel we've gotten to know each other a little bit. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you in 2 weeks.